Hello, everybody. It's Chris Wilson, Senior Pastor at St. Andrew Christian Church, and we are ready to jump into a brand new sermon series for the month of October. And it's going to be an interesting series, say the least. We are on the precipice of a pretty significant election on November 5th. So I thought the month of October might be an interesting time to talk about the whole relationship between church and politics. And so my sermon series is Religion's Place in the Political Sphere. And each week we'll look at a different component of that and what that means for us. There's this really interesting passage for this coming Sunday in the book of 1 Peter. It's one of the little letters toward the back side of the New Testament. And 1 Peter was probably one of the later kind of documents that was written and included in the New Testament. And so it's kind of the later development of the church, and many of the recipients of the letter of 1 Peter would have been outlying communities in Asia Minor. And for those who don't know where Asia Minor was, that would be modern day Turkey. And so this letter was intended for some of these outlying churches in what we would call Turkey today, trying to give them encouragement about how the church should function in a place where their expression of their faith maybe not be looked on with great favor. And one of the phrases we find in the passage I'll talk about in chapter 2 of 1 Peter, in verse 11, it says, "Fear God, honor the emperor," which is kind of an interesting phrase you would find in this passage. There's a sense that you want to honor your faith. You want to give awe. That word fear God is honor or have respect or awe for the very presence of God in your life. You have this kind of the sacred dimension for this. And then there's this honor the emperor. Is you want to, we live within a society that's bigger than just our religion. And so it's kind of finding that balance between what's Christianity's role in the world and our relationship with the powers that be and the systems that exist outside of our individual faith system. You know, one of the things that we are combating, I think, pretty heavily in our country, and talk a little bit more about this in the sermon itself, is the role that many feel Christianity should have within the sphere of the U.S. And there are many that want a Christian nation, a Christian way of behaving, a Christian influence on so many things, even though there are other religious perspectives that exist, or even non-religious perspectives that exist within this country. They want to make sure that Christianity is the dominant voice, is the controlling voice. To me, that doesn't match up with fear God, honor the emperor at all. And so the sermon this week will talk about those notions of things. I'll talk about, you've heard the phrase white Christian nationalism. To me, that's not a faith at all. It's a distorted ideology that uses Christianity to forward particular motives and understandings of what other people want to influence power and privilege upon other people. And that is not the place of our faith. And so we will kind of talk about that relationship between ourselves and society, and where the church might find its voice in all of that. There's so much of our culture today where they feel like the church has lost any voice of significance, or that the far right of the faith has given an unfair look at what the rest of Christianity has to say about our place in the public sphere. So that's kind of where we're headed this week, and I hope you'll join us. On top of the sermon, we have two other good things happening. It's World Communion Sunday, and we have some meaningful things planned for that. It's also our annual Pledge Sunday. We're inviting people to bring their pledges and bring those and place those in a basket at a designated time in the service. I hope you'll join us as we launch this new series. It should be an engaging month as we explore religion's place in the political sphere.